Shalom, all praises be unto Yahweh, Bahasham Yahweh Shai, Bahasham Rachak Wadash. Double honor unto the elder apostles and the elder bishops at Great Millstone who rule well and who taught us this truth, and salutes unto the Arkim who continue to push the word in truth and in sincerity. Shalom to the brothers and sisters who are also listening at this time. Now this is the book of Genesis chapter 2, and really focusing, I guess the title will be something along the lines of, and these are the generations of the heavens and the earth, not the calendar, okay? Because as we know, the whole new moon thing has resurfaced with a particular group, saying something alternative to what they once taught. And you've got other groups as well that say stuff, man, that's just it's not correct, it's not correct, man, okay? So from time to time, bear with me 1 second. From time to time, we go and revise these breakdowns to get the proper understanding of it. So this is the book of Genesis chapter 2, and I'll start from the top, and it says, "Thus the heavens and the earth were finished, and all the hosts of them. And on the seventh day, which is the 7,000th year," okay, it says here God, but if you tap into it, it should say Elohim. Yep, which in the correct Hebrew is Alahayim. The Alahayim, the powers, the angels, gods, rulers, which we know is Yahweh Shai leading, the first fruit of angels. Okay. The powers, and the powers blessed the seventh day. Well, let me go back to verse 2, Salakia. "And on the seventh day the powers ended," it should say, "their work." It says here, "which he made," which should be, "which they made. And they rested on the seventh day from all their work which they had made." Okay? This is the importance of the Hebrew. As much as we go by the King James as the primary translation of the scriptures, which is a very good translation of the scriptures, there are indeed in a few places where the English words rendered aren't accurate. And here's a case in point. Where it says he, it should say they. Where it says God, singular, it should say gods or powers. Right? Or angels even. But this is the importance of understanding the Hebrew. Elder Apostle Gabar did a video not too long ago, a couple of days ago. I was watching it and he was speaking upon that, man. To be in this truth, you must know, we're not saying you got to be fluent or anything, but you must have a working knowledge how to get our way around and through the Hebrew, the Greek, okay? Because the New Testament originally was written in Hebrew, okay? But then it was translated to Greek, and then it's from the Greek translation we get the Latin and English, okay? But we must know some Hebrew, we must know some Greek, and as the elder Apostle Gabar did say, if you want, to go the extra mile, it's good to know a little bit of Latin. But for the most part, the primary language we need to understand is Hebrew and Greek, okay? Right, so this is verse 3. "And the powers blessed the seventh day and sanctified it, because in it they had rested from all their work, which the powers created and made." Now it says here in verse 4, "These are the generations of the heavens and the earth when they were created in the day that the Lord power made the earth and the heavens." It never said this is the calendar. It said these are the generations. Now, let's get into the word there. H8435. Right? And it says here, genealogies, account of men and their descendants, contemporaries, course of history. All right? There's no way begetting or account, proceedings, results, okay? And these words are all good, but nowhere do we see the word calendar. Okay? The creation story is not the beginning of the calendar. The creation story is the generations and the genealogies of how things were made. One's contemporaries. The contemporary of the sun is the moon. It's another light. You know? The initial form of planet Earth is in its elemental stage. The water is the deep. All these are contemporary components which would then come together under the blueprint of the Heavenly Father, carried out by Yahweh Shai leading the Alahayim, okay, the angels, to have what we have today. But nowhere does it mention a calendar. Okay? So the creation story, as Christians would put it, you know, the creation account, Genesis 1, Genesis 2, has nothing to do with a calendar. You know? Oh, well, the moon was made on the fourth day and this and that. Well, hold on a second. It wasn't even calibrated into a calendar. The calendar came way later. You know? Way later, man. Right? So you can't go to Genesis chapter 1 and 2 and think that that's a way to start debating the moon and the calendar and this and that. No. All right? Things had to be set in place first, man. You know? It's like having a car. There's different components to the car, you know? And then once the car is completed, then it's got a completion date. But because the timing belt was connected to the other thing, which connects to the engine and the coolant system, at one point all these pieces of equipment were by themselves. They had to be put together by the manufacturer. All right? But just because you connect the electronics and now the window works of the frame, if the engine is not in the car, it's not a complete car yet. It all has to come together, then it could be considered brand new. You know? It's not a brand new car when only 3 or 4 components are put together, but everything else ain't there yet. It's incomplete. It's not ready yet. It's still being made. All right? So it's the same thing. All right? It was being made, man. So Genesis 1 and Genesis 2 is a generational explanation. These are the generations of the heavens and the earth when they were created in the day that the Lord power made the earth and the heavens. It never said these be the calendar. All right? But these be the generations, which is an explanation of how things happen, man. Okay? Again, I'll go to the word generation there. H8435, and it says descendants, results, proceedings, genealogies, account of men and their descendants, one's contemporaries, course of history of creation. Okay? There is a very big difference between all of that and a calendar.